So there are many ways to still the mind, to slow down this hamster wheel that keeps going round and round and round of constant thoughts and mind patterns. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is to just sit and just observe the mind, and whenever something comes up, to just label it. So for instance, if you find that that you are aware, you're sitting, you're observing and you're aware, in that awareness is silence. Then you may find that the mind comes in and it's trying to pull you off into thinking. And so if it does that, then you'd become aware and you'd label it thinking. And as you label it thinking, what you're doing is you bring it into full awareness as you label it, and you see it, and then automatically you're going back to being the awareness. So for instance, another thought might come, and it might be of future planning, and so it'll take your attention off into the thought, and then suddenly you'll be aware of it and you'll be able to label it planning, and then you're becoming aware again. See, there's two different things going on. There is the mind that has a life of its own, a momentum of its own, that's built up of conditioned mind patterns and thoughts, and of the human collective ego. And there's that, and then there's the awareness, the silent awareness, the observer, the witness. This is who you are, this is your soul. That awareness is your spirit. And the mind, the thinking mind, that is part of the body-mind computer, this vehicle that you are occupying. So again, all you have to do is just sit, become aware, and then when a thought comes, whatever it may be, just label it. So if random thinking comes, then just label it thinking, and then you go back to being aware. Then if you start thinking about the past, then label it past, and then become aware. If you go off into remembering, then label it remembering and become aware. If there's some constant music being played in your head, some song that you heard on the radio and you can't get it out of your head, and that comes along, then label it music and become aware. And each time you're doing that, you are coming back to the silence, coming back to the awareness. Whenever you label it, you bring it into full view, you bring it into the light of consciousness to be able to observe, and that enables you to become still again. And for those that are starting out and beginning and are just partaking in this, you may find that the mind is extremely busy and you might be constantly labeling. But don't be disheartened, stick with it, because what happens is that the more that you do it, you'll find that the gaps of no mind become bigger and bigger and bigger, until you might find that you'll sit down for maybe half an hour or an hour, and the mind may only wander off a couple of times, and the thoughts will come and you will label it and you'll go back to being the silent awareness. So if you stick with it, it's something that will really, really deepen your state of awareness and that silence within. And it will enable you to become extremely still and aware. Until the point where you are just fully still, you're constantly in the position and the place of the silent observer. And so the thoughts are not taking your attention anymore, and are not taking you off into random random mind patterns and random thinking. In other words, you become in control then. You've broken free from the control of the mind. You see, most people are completely controlled by the mind, when really it's supposed to be the other way around. You're supposed to control the mind when you want to use it, but often the mind controls other people, or the mind controls people. An evidence of that is when a person is going to go to sleep at night and they can't stop thinking. How many people have had that experience before, where they go to bed at night and the mind is constantly working overtime, and they must just think, just shut up. But they can't stop it. And when you're at that stage, that is when the mind has fully taken over. And so the mind is the master and you are the slave. And by doing this exercise, what is happening is that you are breaking free and you are becoming the master and the mind is the slave. And it is a much better relationship to have. And this is not just the same with thoughts, but this is also the same with emotions. You can use the same process to disidentify from emotions. So an emotion of anger may come up and you become still and you just observe it. You become aware. And then by becoming aware, you realise that the emotion is not you. It is just happening in the body. But it's not who you are. And so then you don't have to follow the emotion. And if a thought comes up, you don't have to follow the thought. And so you have complete control then over yourself. You're not being dragged along into these unconscious patterns of thought and emotion. So work with this practice and it will really, really increase your level of consciousness. You will find that you will become more silent in the day. You will find that when you're at work or you're in the house or you've gone for a walk somewhere, you may find yourself you'll catch the mind thinking or daydreaming, and then you'll do the same again. You'll then become aware again. And so doing this practice, it will then strengthen it. It'll strengthen your awareness in daily life then as well, until eventually you become totally free of the mind. Totally free of the mind, and it is just there for you to use it whenever you want to use it. It's the perfect relationship and it's how it should be.